all your writing just went out of the window for the rest of the movies that you dropped. And it's just been a shit show, and now it's going to be even more of a shit show because you're turning to this. You're turning to this. Obviously, this is the face of your franchise. You killed them off. 5 years later, you see your franchise is in a shithole, and now you're trying to bring him back. Robert Jr. Yeah. I wonder how people feel about this shit, because this seems desperate, almost like the Deadpool Wolverine movie. Just because they brought back Wolverine after they killed him off, and then they bring him back. And the same thing with now this shit all started, in my opinion, this shit all started with Spider-Man No Way Home, when they brought back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Right? His name is Andrew Garfield. Like, they brought back the two Spider-Mans from before. But I think the way that Spider-Man No Way Home did it, I thought it was actually genuine, and it wasn't like a cash grab of, oh, let's just bank on people's nostalgia for making this money. Because that's what they're doing now. The Deadpool and Wolverine shit, that shit, to me, to be honest, that was nothing but just a cash grab and just banking on people's nostalgia. And then what they're doing now with the whole RDJ being Dr. Doom, it seems like a cash grab on just banking nostalgia. And I can't spoil it because the Deadpool Wolverine movie's only been out for a weekend. But the cameos, the amount of people that are in that movie off of cameos, it's all nostalgia purposes. So that shit is literally a cash grab. And so it's just looking like a cash grab, to be honest. Like, it's like they can't come up with any new things or anything. Like, it's just all like, okay, let's just bank on people's nostalgia at this point, because the new shit isn't working out, you know? Like, all the shit they made recently in Marvel is just not working out. So now they're going to the nostalgia lane because they're losing money. And they're starting to do the Spider-Man No Way Home shit because it did really good. So they're following that blueprint. But the Spider-Man No Way Home, that was good. I thought that was done right because it was out of the box and it made sense why it happened. So I'm not saying the Spider-Man No Way Home one was a cash grab for nostalgia. It was actually genuine. It was a really out of the box idea, and it was so wholesome, and it unintentionally brought back nostalgia. But I don't think that was their intention. I think it followed more so. It made sense on the storyline. But this shit they're doing with RDJ becoming Dr. Doom out of nowhere, and the story is that Iron Man becomes Dr. Doom in another timeline. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever, but I guess. I didn't read the comics, so I don't know, but that shit makes no sense. And then the whole if you watch the Deadpool Wolverine movie, you know exactly what I mean about this cash grab and using nostalgia to bring in fans. So, and everybody that showed up in that movie was also nostalgia. So, let's see. Downey Jr.'s casting as Fantastic Four villain was announced alongside a new film, which would be titled Avengers Doomsday, while specific details were not confirmed about the appearance of the film's wrecking duo. And nobody fucks with this idea. Everybody is like, oh, like when I go in the comment sections or something, everybody's like, oh, you know, they should have had somebody else cast Dr. Doom. This makes no sense. It doesn't make no sense. Is he going to be Iron Man in that suit? Because isn't Dr. Doom supposed to be, like, I don't know, like, kind of the Fantastic Four, the way that Fantastic Four has their powers, and he got exposed to radiation? So isn't that supposed to be Dr. Doom, not fucking an evil version of Iron Man? You see how dumb that sounds? That's so stupid. That's so stupid. And this whole multiverse theme timeline thing, it just seems like another way for them to just spam old actors that we've seen before in hopes of banking nostalgia and for a cash grab, and they're justifying it by saying it's different variants of the original that we saw the actor play in the movies. It's like you're not catching me with that shit. That's all I gotta say. You're not catching me with that shit. Most videos were not confirmed by appearance. Was made possible in the multiverse. You see, actors. So the actors cast was made possible to do a series of different roles featuring. It's so stupid. You see, because if this has something to do with the multiverse, you could cast all new different actors, but you're bringing in old actors knowing that they're going to bring old fans back to your movies for nostalgia purposes. This is just that we'll be playing villainous variant of Tony Stark. I believe the idea was thought up after the axing of Jonathan Manfred. His character came to the was originally to be permanent variant and for while the announcement at Comic Con was met with the response has been much more lukewarm. Some are calling it a desperate move. It is a desperate move. There's no other way to call it to revive what they believe to be a flag in front, while others manifested after winning an Oscar for Oppenheimer. He was in Oppenheimer. I'm gonna have to watch that movie literally right after this stream. It's also been criticized due to the fact that Dr. Doom is of Romany, a detail that shapes the character's Western crucial man. He hasn't done any scripts from the game. Additionally, it's being assumed that a major part of the film will be the Avengers facing off against a character that looks like their old leader. The character won't be wearing his mask as much as he does in the comics. Yeah, you see, this is ridiculous. It may break out, but at the moment, it just feels like a desperate move to get people excited again with one family and with another adding. I really like Junior, but to be honest, it just seems like desperation. It is desperation. And when this movie gets, I don't know. It looks like mixed opinions right now. One fan said I'm playing that is the most Marvel thing I can think of, really. Just completely giving up any attempt of being. Yep, you see, thank you. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Just, there's no originality. Everything is just cycled and reused. They're just reusing the same actors over and over again on this multiverse bullshit. And it's getting lame. And the reason they tried to, you know what's crazy? Is that I wouldn't be surprised in this movie if they bring back Ed, if they're able to get Edward Norton talk in this shit, then I'll be really pissed. Cause I'll be like, you know what? You motherfuckers are in Instagram comment sections. You motherfuckers are watching YouTube videos and you're seeing all the shit that people are saying. And now you're actually, but it's like, damn, but now I'm thinking about it. It's like, they're actually giving what the fans want. But I don't think the fans necessarily want you guys to bring Edward Norton back because we said we want him back. I think the fans are just saying how much you guys fucked up. But the Hulk that replaced Edward Norton was still good until you made him smart, which I don't understand why that was made, why that decision was made. But if they do bring back Edward Norton's Hulk and say it's a different variant of Hulk, for nostalgia purposes, it's like you're spamming nostalgia, and I don't think the population, the masses, the audience is that dumb enough to not know what you're doing, to not see the bigger picture. We know what you're doing. You're obviously banking in nostalgia to try and get a cash grab and try and hit a strike big at the box office. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The Deadpool Wolverine movie, that was not movie of the year. And I'm telling you, with all the advertisement they did, they made it seem like it was going to be movie of the year. I was actually willing to actually go to the movies and pay. And I never paid to go to the movies. Never, because I don't have money to do it. But I was actually willing, the little bit of money I had, I was actually willing to go to the movies. I didn't, but I gave it consideration because I was like, oh man, this could be movie of the year. Like, this shit is about to be crazy. The shit that they showed in the trailer, Wolverine and Deadpool, this is gonna be crazy. And then as soon as they brought up the timeline shit, I was just, here we go again. And I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And that shit is not movie of the year. I still think Inside Out 2 is movie of the year by a large margin. Just me personally. So I don't, and it's because they have originality. They didn't just fucking reuse the same concept like they did in the last movie. It was something different. So I don't know. And it's something that people can relate to. But Deadpool Wolverine is literally nostalgia, just spamming nostalgia and trying to get a quick cash grab. And it's like, what are we doing anymore? Are we just looking for a whole lot of money with barely any creativity? Come on. For another thing, I might be in a minority and it's not all a diss at the greatness of whom I love, but this also is not anyone, not saying it won't work because it can surely do, but I'm not sad at all. Yeah. The less critical of my friends have been left overjoyed, but the actors returns with many branding it historic and excited to see how Spider-Man will affect it, including Spider-Man. And this just goes back to, he is the face of their franchise, and when he left, their franchise went in the gutter, with exceptions to movies like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and I don't know any other movie besides Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that did well, because even that Thor movie was horrible. But they just went down in the gutter ever since he left, ever since Captain America left. It's just went in the gutter. And, I think what they should have done was either they should have thought about this. They should have been like, okay, do we want to actually continue this momentum we have after Endgame? And if we do want to do that, then it makes no sense to kill off all the characters that are loved. And the actors are going to have to get bought out their contracts or whatever. And, there's different people on the screen now from Marvel. It's like, it doesn't make no sense if we want to carry this momentum. Or we want to actually build something new, because we're in a whole different phase of Marvel. So we still got some type of clout, but we're building to something new. When Marvel started with the first Iron Man, nobody was excited for that shit. Or it didn't have the clout that it did when Infinity War happened. And obviously when Endgame came out. It didn't have that clout. They were building to something. And then when the first Avengers came, that's when everybody, you know what I'm saying? That's when it blew up to the surface. A lot of people weren't tapped in with when the first two Iron Man movies came out. I think the Hulk movie and the Iron Man movie were the first two movies that come out. Nobody was tapped into them. Nobody was tapped into Thor like that. Not a lot of people was tapped into Thor like that. Not a lot of people was tapped into Captain America like that. But the Avengers came up, and there's your team up right there, and it blew up. The way they're doing stuff, and there were no shows or anything. It was just movies. And the movies took years to make. Iron Man and Hulk both came out 2008. Iron Man 2 came out, nothing 2009. Iron Man 2 came out 2010. That's it. 2011 was Thor and Captain America. 2012, The Avengers. What they're doing, no shows. What they're doing now, a whole lot of shows, a whole lot of shows, a whole lot of shows, a whole lot of shows. Terrible movie here and there. Terrible movie every year. I'm rhyming. That's what they're doing. And then now for the team up for the Avengers, they're like, shit, man, we have nothing to really, we have no foundation. Okay, let's just bring back the old actors that we had before. You see where I'm going with this? It's like, if you wanted to continue the momentum you had after Endgame, don't kill your characters off. That's all I'm saying. But since you killed your characters off, and might I add, cinematic fashion or just crazy fashion, it was so flamboyant the way that Tony Stark died, saying that he is Iron Man, and then he snaps his finger. That is a historic moment. Just for the motherfucker to come back in a different version. Not even 6 years later, 5 years later, whenever this movie comes out, I think it comes out next year. He's back 5 years later. It completely just turns a historic moment into something lesser than a historic moment, because we have him back in the MCU anyways. Granted, as a different character, but he's back nonetheless. And it's because you guys just couldn't build a correct foundation. You couldn't. So it took, from 2008 to 2012, it took them 4 years. 4 years. And so let's start 2020 and 2024. You got to build your foundation first. You can't just get a whole team up and then now you're seeing your foundation is not doing anything. You're wasting all your time on these dumb shows. And I understand it's woke movement and it's, you know what I'm saying, it's woman empowerment. It's, nowadays women have a lot of rights than they had before. Nigga, the women are not fucking watching the movies. It's us. It's still us. It's still us men that are watching the movies because we're into this shit. We're fucking nerds. We're fucking geeks. We're into this superhero shit. The women are not watching your shows. And so you're probably sitting here wondering, damn, why aren't shows like She-Hulk or the fucking Hawkeye show are going crazy? Because the show is catered to women. There's not enough women watching that shit. And so the men who do go crazy for this shit, we're not watching that shit. We don't relate to that shit. I'm not trying to bash the woman that played it. I think Haley Steinfeld did a wonderful job as Hawkeye's protege. when I watch that shit. But we're not watching that shit to watch women. We don't relate to that shit. And you're trying to cater to an audience that you don't have. Women don't fucking watch that shit. They don't watch the Avengers the way that the men watch, or they don't watch superhero movies the way that men watch superhero movies. And you're catering to that audience when you drop She-Hulk, when you did the Marvels, all this woke movement shit you're doing, trying to cast women as the main characters. I fuck with it, I do, but you can't sit here and actually expect your shit to be as good as it was before you started doing this whole woman as the main actor shit, because you're catering to a whole different audience. And so the men are gonna gravitate to something else. New shows are come up on the horizon. The Boys, shit, anime is going crazier than ever because they're keeping the same concept with the MCs being men, or it's coexisting with women, but you can't just have it. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you can't expect your audience to stay the same when you completely changed how you're doing these movies or these shows. And you know what I'm saying? It probably hurts for people to say it, but it's like, your audience isn't women. I'm not saying that you can't cast women as the main characters, but your audience isn't fucking women. Your audience is men. Your audience is men. We don't relate to women. We're men at the end of the day. You know, so it's like, I don't understand that. That She-Hulk show, don't never hear about it unless it's memed. The Hawkeye, I actually enjoyed the Hawkeye show, but I don't hear about it. The Marvels, don't even get me started on the Marvels. That was one of the worst Marvel movies ever. And then all your writing just went out of the window for the rest of the movies that you dropped. And it's just been a shit show, and now it's going to be even more of a shit show because you're turning to this. You're turning to this. Obviously, this is the face of your franchise. You killed them off. 5 years later, you see your franchise is in a shithole, and now you're trying to bring them back and come up with some multiverse bullshit theory in order to justify that. And we're not stupid. We see through this bullshit. You know, and this is looking like a cash grab to me. You're banking on nostalgia. You motherfuckers are becoming like 2K every year. 2K does the same shit. They just cash grab. Cash. That's all I want. That's all I want. Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. It's not at all. Okay. Less critical, more fans have been left overjoyed by the actors. 9/13. Turn to the MCU with mini branding hit story inside it. However, there are comic book writers who don't like the fact that this will detract from the rival Fantastic Four characters, Reed Richards and Sue Storm. Yeah, this. I just don't agree with it being another evil version of Iron Man. That's so ridiculous. That's ridiculous. The actor first appeared as Iron Man in 2008. Okay, yeah, we don't need no fucking backstory on him. I'm pretty sure we're all well aware. The independent is the world's most free thinking. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah.